We're doing this in black and white. Fuck that. Nah. That works. Cool. Where's that fucking thing? Oh, I see it. Just 1 second. Things are going down on Ignarism. Ignarism. Get off. There we go. Oh, welcome, welcome. Hello again. Today we are getting something interesting. Just give me 1 second. There we go. Oh, shit. Listen. I am still working shit. There we go. Ooh, got a new phone. Nice. Usually everything ends up being different, because every new phone I get, besides the Samsungs, has always been quite different. I got like this irradiated drink of some sort. It's actually grapefruit, jarrito. I'm actually, hold on. I'm actually listening to Derrick Jenson right now, kind of getting a little rundown. Why are you in black and white? Is it me? No. It's me. It's me. I'm thinking for these specific segments where I kind of actually delve into like someone's philosophy and shit. I'm gonna do it more like this, make it a little bit more snazzy. Snazzy. Yeah. But let me open this up because I want to irradiate myself and get some rads and shit because, you know, gonna fall off. But we got like, this looks like the quantum Nuka-Cola from Fallout. Like, if I put that in a Coca-Cola bottle, it would look like that. His fucking idea was to make quantum Nuka-Cola. That shit just looks like it's meant to irradiate you and turn you into a ghoul. Like, holy fuck. But, anyway. So, I don't know too much about this guy, Derrick Jenson. But, I've been listening to PaulsEgo talk about it on Highdeology. Kind of delving into him because it was one of his core, like, a lot of his philosophy is kind of in his core views on a lot of kind of the worldview itself. So I kind of wanted to dissect it myself because it is quite interesting for sure. There's a lot of points from what I've heard so far that I do agree with, but there's parts where he loses me because of some of his more extreme views. So I'm only going to do part 1 because I didn't realize these were an hour. So I'm just going to do, I'll do the next part some other time, but I think there's only 2 parts. I can only find 2 parts. Oh, there's even a complete lecture thing on here. That's cool. But, you know, I think I might as well just go to that because that looks like an hour 20 minutes. Get more worried about YouTube. A vapor friend, Liam, got a red strike today. Oh, yeah, it sounds like it, because, I mean, I'll probably get into that in a bit, because there is a point where he kind of brings up, or, was it your charger? I have no idea, but, well, I have no idea, but right now, oh, what the fuck, right now I'm at, like, a full battery, so nothing should go wrong, so, should be good, so, anyway, let's, get started and, learn about his, I know he's definitely more like an anarcho-primitivist when it comes to like a political view, so that's kind of much as a background as I know he's, and what I mean by getting back to this, because there's some eco-terroristic ideas that he has as well into what he believes in, which is funny because he basically in some parts kind of calls out for it, which I've heard when I was listening to this prior. And Paul dissecting it basically, where it's essentially like, you know, basically like replace him with like some Islamic State video, and you basically doing the same thing with like their ideology set and stuff. So I mean, it's just like, this is up on YouTube, but Oh no, smoking the legal tabuki is in vaping. Oh my god, so bad, so terrible. Ugh. But anyway, let's begin. I also have a burrito over here. You'll see me munching on it. I'm going to be doing more eating than smoking today this time on this video.
Are there any undercover feds here? So raise your hand, please. It's worth a try.
It's not really much to look at. I mean,
are,
it's more just
actually
the critique going back and forth.
Well, the first part is fuck you. And the second part is that when he was on trial for his life in Jerusalem, part of Adolf Eichmann's defense was
so
that
food should be okay.
Nobody ever told him that what he was doing is wrong. And I wanted a matter of public record that what you are doing is wrong. And I plan on seeing you held accountable. I don't know if you know this.
I'll probably speed it up a little bit, help it out.
The first version of the movie Star Wars was written by environmentalists. The first version was not the same as the way the version that we've all seen ended up. Is there anybody in here who doesn't know how the movie Star Wars goes? Oh, that's pretty damn cool. There's actually one person here who doesn't know how Star Wars goes. No, that's great. That's a very good thing.
It's actually pretty good.
Gosh, I saw that movie when I was like 16 or something, which is about the right time to see it. I saw it again recently, and God, it's terrible. But back then, I was like, oh my God, the acting is so good. And I mean, I really like it a lot. I wasn't one of those people who saw it, you know, like 1,000 times or anything. I mean, for one thing, I wasn't that much of a nerd, and for the other, I was way too busy playing Dungeons and Dragons. But for those of you, for the one person here who doesn't know how the movie goes, the way Star Wars goes is at the end of the movie,
trying to find where the first premise
the Empire has built this giant Death Star that is a machine that's capable of destroying entire planets, which is a wonderful metaphor for the whole dominant culture. And then the rebels find a way to blow up the Death Star by dropping a torpedo through a thermal exhaust port. And no, I'm really not a nerd. So Luke Skywalker uses the Force to get past all the TIE fighters, and then he drops the torpedo down the thermal exhaust port and it blows up the whole Death Star. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. But the first version was not written by Lucas and company. The first version was, the first draft of it was actually written by environmentalists. And so it's a slightly different movie. Well, and for one thing, it's not called Star Wars because that's so wild. Instead, it was called Star Nonviolent Civil Disobedience.
I don't know if that's legit, but if it is, that would be kind of interesting.
Instead of actually blowing up the Death Star, the rebels use other tactics to slow the intergalactic march of empire. For example, this is what I actually have in my hands, a very rare first draft here. Anyway, for example, they set up programs for people on planets about to be destroyed to produce luxury items like hemp hacky sacks and gourmet coffee for sale to inhabitants of the Death Star. Audience members also discover that there are plans afoot to encourage loads of troopers and other citizens of the Empire to take eco-tours of doomed planets. The purpose will be to show to one and all that these planets are economically important to the Empire and so should not be destroyed. In a surprise move that will get viewers to the edges of their seats, other groups of rebels filed lawsuits against the Empire, attempting to show that the environmental impact statement that Darth Vader was required to file failed to adequately support its decision that blowing up the planet would cause no significant impact. Viewers will thrill to learn a plan. They send DVDs of that to Darth Vader in response to Grand Moff Tarkin. And they actually make it all the way to Darth Vader's headquarters, and Darth Vader's all by himself. And they sneak up behind him.
I don't remember this part of it, but I know this is a video.
The producers decided to take that back. And they're generally shouted down by the pacifist rebels who argue that attacking those who run the Death Star is just another example of the Empire's harmful philosophy coming in by the back door. They say,
oh, is this it right here?
But I hesitated to use that word.
Okay, here we go.
In part because of those cartoons I've seen of crazy penitents carrying the end as near signs, and
howdy, howdy.
because of the power of the word itself.
Doing discussion on philosophy today,
I didn't
Dakota.
want to use it lightly.
My friend Spaz is in the chat.
So Derek, what's going to take for you to finally use that word? Will it take the death of runs of salmon so large that people were afraid to put their boats in water for fear they'd capsize, so large that horses were afraid to get in the water, so large that you could hear them from miles before you'd see them? Maybe it'll take the death of flocks of passenger pigeons so large that they would darken the sky for days at a time, rolling thunder, moving 60 miles an hour. Maybe it'll take the death of flocks of Eskimo curlews, almost as large. Maybe it'll take the turning of the sea off San Diego into a dead zone. Maybe it'll take the turning of the Gulf of Mexico into a dead zone. Maybe it'll take docks and every mother's breast milk. Maybe it'll take global warming. Maybe it'll take the hole in the ozone. You know, maybe a specific threshold there, a specific point at which you finally use that word.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, when it comes to science and stuff, I could definitely understand that.
I want to talk tonight about Endgame.
Oh, here we go.
The book on the reality.
Finally.
And
away from the Star Wars.
I mean, that book really began from a fundamental question of, do you believe that this culture is going to undergo a voluntary transformation to a sane and sustainable way of living? And, you know, I've asked that question of thousands of people, and nobody ever says yes. But one guy at one of my talks raised his hand, and everybody looks at him. He said, "Oh, voluntary? No, of course not." And so the next question is, if you don't believe that the culture is going to undergo a voluntary transformation to a sane and sustainable way of living, and you care about the land where you live, what does that mean for your strategy and for your tactics? And the answer is we don't really know. And one of the reasons that we don't know is because we don't really talk about it. And one of the reasons that we don't talk about it is because we're all so busy pretending that we have hope. And I'm going to do some serious hope bashing later. It's one of my favorite things to do.
So what he's saying here is that civilization in itself cannot sustain itself, and that it and that we cannot voluntarily like revert back to a sustainable way of living, which I think it gets on here in a bit to go into. So, so what he's saying is there ways to voluntarily have civilization revert ways back to a more sustainable way of living? And the answer is, well, he says, I don't know, but I actually do think it is no. I mean, with how society is currently, with how we're always on our phones, ironically, I'm doing this on a phone, how we're always around technology, and how we've kind of, like, I literally got a burrito from a restaurant and brought it back home to eat instead of like making my own food, like I could have. I mean, so what he's saying is, with so many people are ingrained into not knowing how to like sustain themselves efficiently by themselves, that civilization won't be able to go back into the way it is. If you want to just be over here and discuss some philosophy spaz, sure, because I mean that's what I'm doing right now. This is what the stream's going to be about, discussing this guy.
So that's really where I want to, and that's really what the book is about, is if you don't believe that the culture is going to undergo a voluntary transformation, what do? And so I think what I would like to do is go through the premises of that book. And one of the reasons, one of the things I've done in Endgame is I put my premises in boldface in the front of the book. And one of the reasons I did that is because one of the first rules of propaganda is if you can slide your premises by people, you've got them. About Hitler, it was said, from insane premise to monstrous conclusion, Hitler was coldly ideological. So he would say, what are we going to do about the Jewish problem? Gosh, Adolf, good question. What are we going to do about it? But see, what he's done is he's slid the premise by you, but there's a Jewish problem you have to do something about. Or similarly, you hear some talking head on television say, so how can we make the U.S. economy grow? God, good question. Well, okay, some of the premises. A, we want the U.S. economy to grow. B, we want the U.S. economy to exist. C, who the hell's we? And so, like I said, I didn't want to do that. I don't want to slide premises by people. And so the structure of this talk is going to be that I want to go through some of the premises for that book.
And we will be dissecting it.
The first premise is that industrial civilization is not, and civilization itself, but especially industrial civilization, is not and can never be sustainable. Civilization is not and can never be sustainable. A few years ago, I was riding in a car with a friend of mine who, we were stuck in traffic, and I was just making conversation, and I said, so George, if you could live at any level of technology that you wanted, what would it be? And George can sometimes kind of be a curmudgeon, and that day he was not in a good mood, and he said, Derrick, that's a really stupid question. We can fantasize whatever we want, but the truth is there's only one level of technology that's sustainable, and that's the Stone Age. But we're going to be there again someday, and the only question really is what's going to be left of the world when we get there.
So his first premise is that civilization is unsustainable, and that the only way to get back into a sustainable way of living is to essentially revert back to the Stone Age. And what will the world be like going through that transition? And I do agree that civilization is unsustainable, because let's break it down here really quick. Like, where's most of the farms that we get our food from? It's out in the Midwest, right? So you need infrastructure to get that to people in the cities, because there's nowhere where they can grow their own food, essentially, because it's urbanized. There's nothing there besides, you know, their daily jobs that they go to at, like, the bank or some shit. So, and there's nowhere for them to grow their own food, so they have to buy it from the markets, and then they have to go to maybe a restaurant or something to go eat food instead. And what he's saying is that is unsustainable, because we are unable to, like, we should be able to sustain ourselves in that sense. And I kind of do agree with that. Like, but I don't think it's, like, I do think there is sustainable ways of living that can be balanced in through it, but I don't, but overall, I think that civilization, yes, is unsustainable, but I don't think we'll be able to revert back to a Stone Age-like era again, but we could probably do so with, I mean, it will have to require, like, a literal economic collapse, which, for him, he kind of fantasizes about, which is where he loses me a lot in his ideology. But let's continue on here. But what do you guys think about it, though? I mean, go ahead and I mean, this discussion is meant for everybody here. So, if I did see some comments here. What was going on, though? Get lower so we can hear. You know, it's finished the closing number. Live by moving forward. Can't go backwards. A bridge survive. Who's Suzuki? Oh, technically me, but it's because of I have a lot of Suzuki brand instruments, which is why I'm nicknamed that. Well, what was that one comment right there? Think evolution can happen. It was something better for the environment. Yeah, I mean, in a way, I mean, evolution does play in a part of that, because, I mean, we see time and time again with evolution giving a mutation in genes and allowing species to adapt into our environments, but at the same time that also has led to extinctions as well, because there's a lot of animals going extinct even to right now. Like, I mean, I think the last white rhino is in a zoo in New York or some shit. I mean, and there's a lot of and also with that, I mean, the Earth itself is always going to be here. So, I mean, it's just we have to adapt to the Earth evolving, which is evolving extremely due to our effect onto the world with climate change and with, you know, the extracting oils out of the Earth, where it's been there since, like, the eras of, like, Jurassic era and stuff like that. Extinction will... Oh shit. Extinction will happen, but evolution will come behind it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, which is generally what happens, and also other species end up evolving, because, I mean, that's how life works in a way. I mean, as much as life is brutal, it always finds a way to keep going. That, I mean, I've noticed that as a trend on this planet, that life somehow finds a way, because this Earth has been hit by meteors, it's been hit by another planet-sized thing, but that was before life. But I mean, it's been hit by so much that, and life has continued to persist for hundreds of thousands of years after the fact. I mean, that's definitely a factor. Even if we end up going extinct as people, I mean, the Earth will still be going on until our sun goes supernova, becomes a red giant, and eats us. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, the Earth will continue to be here for another billions of years and on. At least for like another 5 billion.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that any way of living that's based on the use of non-renewable resources won't last. In fact, it takes anybody but a rocket scientist to figure that out. And I mean, if your way... Oh, let's back off for a second. I want to go a different direction. We'll come back to that. That before we go any further, it's like, okay, that's nice. What's civilization? And, you know, I've been bashing civilization for about 15 years now, and so I figure I'd probably better finally define it. And the definition that I'm using is that civilization is a way of life that's characterized by the growth of cities. And that's defensible both linguistically and historically.
So his definition of what civilization is a way of life that characterized by the growth of cities, and I agree with that overall, actually. I do think that that's how civilization starts, because look at Egypt. Like, look at the first civilizations of today, or of the world, you know, in human history. It's ended up becoming that way because cities end up growing large, and they had to be trade, and eventually tribes united and grew into these cities. So I do support that idea. That's I would kind of extend onto it by saying also there's multiple tribes and fiefdoms that are united within or at least like outskirts, you know, essentially like suburban areas like where I'm at. Like, that will be like a kind of an example of that as well, of being into like that fiefdom tribal like outskirts where it's also united, where they can get their trade from the bigger hub, which is the downtown areas of today. So I mean, I do support that idea, because you can back it up through any point in time in history. So I do agree with that.
That's nice, Derek, but what's a city? And a city, I've defined as a collection of people living in numbers large enough to require the importation of resources.
Which I kind of described as well there.
And what that means is the Tolowa, on whose land I now live, were not civilized. They didn't require the importation of resources. They didn't live in cities. They lived in villages, camps, and once again, they didn't require the importation of resources. They would eat salmon and clams and huckleberry and salal and salmon, and then usually through the winter they would eat a lot of salmon. And the Tolowa lived there for 12,500 years, if you believe the myths of science. And if you believe the myths of the Tolowa, then they lived there since the beginning of time. And this culture has been there for 180 years, 170 years, and the area's getting pretty trashed. And oh, it's so funny, I gotta tell you this. I did a talk at Princeton last spring, and during the Q&A, this guy says, you know, you say the Tolowa lived there for 12,500 years, but that doesn't mean that they were sustainable.
Yeah, it does. They've lived there for 12,500 years. That means they've sustained themselves there. What? Yeah, I can see why the audience is laughing to that.
I asked him why, and he said because he actually said this. He said because we don't have quantitative analysis showing. Yeah, it's like we can just stop there.
What the? Whoa! What the fuck was that?
There was the same number of salmon now as there were 12,500 years ago. And I said, okay, if 12,500 years isn't long enough for you, what if they were there for 20,000?
I don't know what that was.
No. I said, okay, 30,000? No. I said, give me a number. I mean, you want quantitative analysis, like 100,000, is that long enough? And I said, what about the San Bushmen of Western and South Africa? They evolved in place. So they were there, they and their evolutionary predecessors, like 2 million years, 3 million years. Is that long enough? It's like, we don't have the data. Anyway.
You just literally said the data.
So, two things happen as soon as you require the importation of resources. One of them is that your way of living can never be sustainable, because if you require the importation of resources, it means that you've denuded the landscape of that particular resource, and as your city grows, you'll denude an ever larger area. And denuding the landscape of a resource harms the land base. It's very interesting. You know, I know we've all been told.
So what he's saying here is that because of these cities and how they end up becoming unsustainable, his reasoning is that because the land has become so diluted and so useless at that point that you have to go to outside forces and outside areas to come get your resources, essentially, that you have squandered, which I think we have also kind of went into, because that's kind of how I was kind of describing it a little bit, kind of in a pathetic way, but I mean, that's essentially the basis of that reasoning, is because the land is unsustainable anymore, which is very much true. I mean, where I live, there is still areas where there's just natural wildlife, but once I go to downtown Portland, even despite all the parks and how progressively liberal environmental it is, it's still diluted into nothing. I mean, you can't sustain yourself on any of the land over there, really, besides like some of the undeveloped areas, if it's not urbanized already.
Well, that natural selection is based on competition, and that, you know, it's all just a fierce battle for who can be the meanest and grab the most resources most quickly and exploit the most thoroughly. But short of showing how stupid our discourse is, I can disprove that in one sentence if you give me a couple of semicolons. And that's those creatures who've survived in the long run have survived in the long run. Semicolon. You don't survive in the long run by hyper-exploiting your surroundings. Semicolon. You survive in the long run by actually making your habitat better. What a concept.
So this is where a lot of his environmentalist views come in, and so you hate semicolons. I love semicolons. Whenever I use a semicolon, I feel smart as fuck. What was that one comment that I missed up there? Science fair play like a pot of soup, but cities were created to ease habitants, not environment. I mean, yeah, I mean, yes and no. I mean, like, even though we do have you know, cities are meant to kind of ease the inhabitants part. Yeah, that's true. Though, there could still be ways to do so without, you know, literally diluting every square inch of that city's limit of the land to try to attempt to sustain itself, because that is, I mean, it's like, let's actually not even like look at to the U.S. for this. Let's spread out more in the world. Like, look at Beijing, for example. I mean, look how like toxic, if you really think about it, about how polluted and toxic that city is. It's squandered practically every resource it could from itself. It's a lot of its the resources it does to produce what they need is from the rest of China, essentially. So I mean, that, like, for at least for Beijing, for sure, and other major insane big cities like this, I mean it's a more extreme example of just essentially using up destroying out the land and polluting it and becoming more destructive to your own self while you're living there. I mean, that's kind of the more, at least for me, that would be my core reasoning, is that if you're living in a city but it's so toxic and so polluted and dangerous to even be there for your own health, then yes, you are definitely unsustainable. In fact, you know, be more of a danger to your own self, essentially, and put more harm on yourself and the environment as much you know, yourself and stuff. So, I mean, I see where you're coming from, but like I mean, I don't like necessarily totally agree with his view on it, but I kind of have my more personal view with like his premise. So like, I agree with the main premise, but his reasoning behind it, I'm not like 100% agreeing with. Like, I have. Which is why I'm dissecting it, because I think it kind of helps, kind of, you know, or kind of tweak around my mind a little bit about a lot of these philosophies. And like, even though I do agree with a lot of premises, it's good to kind of see where I differ from him amongst, you know, other philosophers we'll eventually get into as well. and get into you know, what I agree or disagree with, or just where I differ from. You know, I mean, that's kind of why I want to do this, because I mean, this is kind of like picking out the brains a little bit.
Okay, so anyway, two things happen as soon as you require the importation of resources. One is that you can never be sustainable, which means we could all become the best little natural capitalists in the world, and it doesn't matter. So long as there's this fundamental system in place, it's not going to be sustainable. And the other thing it means is that your way of life must be based on violence, because if you require the importation of resources, trade will never be sufficiently reliable. Because if you require the importation of resources and the people in the next watershed over aren't going to trade you for it, you're going to take it. Which means we could all become junior bodhisattvas, and it wouldn't matter. The U.S. military would still have to be huge, because how else are they going to get access to our oil that just happens to be under somebody else's land? If they require that oil, they're going to take it.
Yeah, and I do agree with that premise to an extent. Like, if you break it down to a more localized, smaller community, the chances of, if someone doesn't trade you for it, like, the chances of a more smaller local community fighting it out with violence is very unlikely. But you've put it on the international scale of major corporations and big banks and big oil baron companies. Yeah, they will do whatever means they can to take the resources for their own maximizing profit. So, like, I agree with it to an extent, but not wholeheartedly. Like, I think if someone doesn't trade for something, there's ways to talk about it. Be like, okay, well, why not? Like, do you need something else or something like that? Would you prefer this? Or would you, do you want us to do something for you? Like, you know, I feel like there's, you know, more than just violence when it comes to trading or importation of resources. So I do agree, only to an extent, with that premise right there. What was that comment I missed, though? Let me see here. Which plays into space travel we talked about. We destroyed enough here, and now we need to destroy more in our universe with our childish need of self-glory and physical ease. Seeing costs, we have not pillaged enough of the universe and where we live. I mean, yeah, I unfortunately think, you know, when it comes to exploration of space, that's most likely what the true reasoning behind it will be for, is we need to go to another Earth because we killed everything off in here. So fuck it, let's go find another place. I mean, like, I would prefer much to just explore space and colonize other worlds and protect our own at the same time, you know? But just because, for the sake of, you know, humanity's sake, and, you know, for unity and for you know, just to survive all our species as well, because there will be a time where Earth won't be habitable anymore for us, whether it be due to the climate changing naturally or due to human effect, most likely human effect, whether it be 5 billion years later it's because the Earth fucking gets eaten by the sun, whether it be like a meteorite hits us and hits this planet. You know, there's a lot of factors that could go into that. Yellowstone even, I mean, there's a lot, or, you know, there's a lot of different natural effects that could play into why we would need to go explore other worlds and colonize and stuff like that. So, I mean, while I would much rather wish that, you know, the true, you know, if we end up doing it, the main true factor might be because, you know, we want to explore for the greater good, but, you know, ends up being just because we just kill this planet off to the point it's uninhabitable for us, then, you know, well, that would be just really sad. But I mean, hopefully it wouldn't come to that, though. I mean, I do have to say I am a little bit more optimistic when it comes to my worldview, but like as the course of the time, as time goes on, I slightly get more nihilistic and more pessimistic about the world life. And howdy, Rip City. What was that? You off today? Yes, I am. You know, you and me, for the spite of YouTube, if I was another world, I'd have some massive pot farm. Well, I mean, if you're on another world, you wouldn't have marijuana in the first place. So, unless you're probably talking about, like, the equivalent of marijuana, wherever that world would be. I mean, that'd be cool, like, to try, like, the marijuana equivalent to, like, another world's you know, species of sentient life, that'd be cool as fuck. But anyway, let's get back into the end game here with Derrick Jenson now.
So those two things are really fundamental. But I want to go even further, and I'm going to say not only is a way of life that's based on the use... Oh, no, we're going to jump back now. So, because I've been talking about resources, so I want to go back to what I was saying before about any way of life. Another way to look at all this is any way of life that's based on the use of non-renewable resources also won't last. I mean, it doesn't matter what resource you're talking about. I mean, you would think that if you have a way of life that's based on the use of, I don't know, let's just choose a random example, oil. You would think that you would start to consider what's going to happen when this non-renewable resource runs out. That, once again, just by definition, any way of life that's based on the use of non-renewable resources won't last. And I would go a step further, and I would say that any way of life that's based on the hyper-exploitation of renewable resources won't last. So if every year there are fewer salmon returned than the year before, eventually you're going to run out. And everybody knows this except for Michael Sissenwine, who is in charge of one of the divisions of the National Marine Fisheries Services. And his response when learning that 90% of the large fish in the oceans are gone was to say, that's not a problem. We have to ask what level of decline is reasonable or sustainable. Exactly. And so
So what he's saying is that, well, I was kind of missing the part because I was trying to set up the chat over on my screen right here, but what'd you say here? When you reach my age, you give up on on hope. It's a shame. Reality sets in as what could be and what is and will be. Yeah, I mean, which is why we kind of wish that more people my age, or at least we're more optimistic, so they can kind of push for more of the change that we need. I mean, I am seeing that a lot, which is why I do have optimism about a lot of the world, but with just how shit, especially with recent news, I totally get and understand this nihilistic, pessimistic view of the world, and I have it too, times as well. I mean, there's a lot that I just want to say fuck it with, and just like say bring on the nukes, but, I mean, when I have a more level, cool head, I'm far more optimistic about it, but I mean, there's definitely a lot more of a nihilistic view with it, though, because of just a lot of the shit that is fucked with our world, especially.
Basically,
but I think what he was saying with this is that, I kind of have to go back a little bit, though, because I missed it.
Michael Sissenwine, who is in charge of one of the divisions of the National Marine Fisheries Services, and his response when learning that 90% of the large fish in the oceans are gone was to say, that's not a problem. We have to ask what level of decline is reasonable or sustainable.
Yeah, so what he's saying here is that because of non-renewable sources of resources, like a lot of the idea for people now is that, or at least just because they don't see the major effect in the long run, like they don't really delve into what the impacts could be of it, because he was saying, for the example of oil, that's a very non-renewable resource right there, and with how especially corrupt our government is pushing for these oil companies to and these fossil fuel industries to continue doing what they're doing, eventually there's going to be a time where all that runs out. So which kind of proves the point of its obsoleteness of how just shitty that source of resource gathering is, which is why we should be pushing for more renewable energy sources. We should be pushing for solar, wind, geothermal, all these different sources of energy, instead of just droning out these harmful sources of collective non-renewable energy sources. So, and he was making an example also with salmon as well, like, because fewer salmon every year will be like going up the river with mass consumption of salmon, and people now will be like, it doesn't affect me now, so why bother about it? But eventually, because later down the line, people are gonna be like, oh, we're out of salmon now, which kind of you know, goes into this idea of just not doing anything about a certain situation and just kind of making it worse because you don't think it's going to have that much of a big impact or have that much of a major change on your own life because it's still there for you. Which, you know, I do notice that a lot of people do kind of have that mentality, with, especially with a lot of different things. And it's like, well, you know, I guess I'm just very analytical about shit in life. So I always think about, like, outcomes and certain alternatives or, like, what could happen and things like that, especially if I'm talking to people or just thinking about how the day is going to go on. So I do definitely, like, I don't know whether, I don't think it's, like, an agree or disagree type of thing. I think we're just kind of delving in more into this idea of what he was talking about here, but... Which is fine, totally fine. Because I mean, that's what we're doing here is, you know, just diving into his philosophy and dissecting into it. And who cares about salmon as long as my burger's still around? It may just not be a cow burger. That's all. Yeah, I mean, there could even be a time where there could be like a disease that cows can get that will just massively wipe them all out all of a sudden, and then now we don't. Now beef consumption is at like is very rare and it ends up being like the most expensive thing on the market. I mean, which can definitely prove a very negative impact, not just on for people's diets, because a lot of people love beef, including me. I'm eating a burrito that has beef in it, damn it. But I mean, with it being such a mass consumed resource event, you know, while it is renewable, it can be non-renewable if, you know, we don't beware of it. You know, we got to be aware of it and understand what certain things could happen with it. So we need to like make sure we keep going with being, you know, it's just like an awareness of our own environment. It's essentially kind of what it comes down to. I mean, we need to be more aware of. Oh, howdy, he is here. Well, come on in. But anyway, so yeah, like I was saying, you know, it just comes down to being more aware of the environment. And I'm going to close that window, goddammit. But I'll play this on and let it continue.
Exactly. And
thanks for letting me in.
So in basically 2 sentences or 3 sentences, he destroyed the words problem,
my bad, bro.
Decline. 2 sentences. He destroyed the words problem, decline.
So I got a song for them to listen.
Nice. Still got a ways to go.
In any case, if every year there are fewer passenger pigeons returned than there were the year before, eventually there will be none. If every year there is fewer old-growth forest, which once wasn't called old-growth forest, but was simply called home, then eventually it will be gone. And I'm going to go a step further, and I'm going to say that any way of life that's based on the use of resources won't last. Because a resource is something there to be used. And there's a great line by a Canadian lumberman. When I look at trees, I see dollar bills.
Oh no.
Yep, here you go.
And if when I look at trees, I see dollar bills, I'm going to treat them one way. I'm going to convert them into dollar bills. If when I look at trees, I see trees, I'm going to treat them another way. And if when I look at this particular tree, I see this particular tree, I'm going to treat it differently still. And it's the same with fish. If when I look at salmon, I see dollar bills, I'm going to treat them one way. If when I look at salmon, I see salmon, I'm going to treat them another way.
Yeah, but I want to
if when I look at this particular fish, I see this particular fish, I'll treat it differently still.
What?
The same is true also of women. If when I look at women, I see orifices, I'm going to treat them one way. If when I look at women, I see women, I'm going to treat them another way. And if when I look at this particular woman, I see this particular woman, I'm going to treat her differently still.
Nice.
If you perceive another as a resource, you're going to use them, as opposed to enter into a relationship with them. And I need to be really clear that just because I perceive a fish as a fish, that doesn't mean that I
you got to turn the bell on, or else you're not really going to get them all.
I was doing a interview in Spokane, Washington several years ago, and the interviewer said, you know, Indians exploited salmon too. And I said, no, they didn't, they ate them.
I have to do PTSD.
And he said, what's the difference?
Alright.
I said, well,
I'm smoking still.
They gave him respect for the spirit in exchange for the flesh. And I knew that answer was kind of bullshit, but I'm a male, and so I'm required by law to answer every question that's asked of me.
Grapefruit. It's good.
And
is it?
Yeah.
So that afternoon, I went out and I sat next to this tree that I had a long relationship with.
Dude, I
asked
have one of
the
these
tree,
like
what is
you.
the fundamental predator-prey relationship?
I didn't buy one, like 1.5.
And the tree gave me the answer right away.
I think so.
Which is,
Super
if you
Burrito.
consume the flesh of another, you take responsibility for the
funny.
continuation of the other's community. So if I consume the flesh of salmon from the Klamath River, I now take responsibility for the continuation of the Klamath River salmon. And that's...
Oh, you're talking about the salmon and how it's depleting and almost gone. All the salmon almost gone.
Yeah, we just had a discussion about it. You were already out.
Yeah, I left it.
Yeah.
There won't be any newts in the pond anymore.
So
we just forget sometimes. And that's the fundamental
He specs a burrito wrapper in.
that we have to get into. And I want to say something else about that.
We're about halfway through.
Yeah, he wants me to rap. He's like, get your ass over
I
here.
had a big argument with this guy several years ago because
Alright, bro, so are you gonna pay me money for rapping?
Because
this shit ain't free.
Hey, when I get my Patreon set up, when I get more subscribers,
I knew that was wrong.
He's like, I'll pay you, bro.
Well, I mean, if you want, yeah, I mean, I'll have.
He said, go ask a tree. A tree will tell you. So I went out and asked a tree, and the tree said, "You're an animal. You consume things. Get over it."
I'll just pull up mine right now. Oh shit!
But then it also gave me the other answer, which is yes, I am culpable, not because I consume the flesh of a tree. I'm culpable because I consume the flesh of a tree without fulfilling my end of the bargain. I'm culpable not because I use toilet paper, but because I don't stop Weyerhaeuser from deforesting. And that's a much more serious culpability than simply consuming. So I'm not culpable because I consume Klamath River salmon. I'm culpable because I consume Klamath River salmon and I don't take out the fucking Iron Gate. Okay, so industrial civilization is not and can never be sustainable.
So that was just his first premise. And he has 20 premises.
Did you hear what he said? Read that.
So,
yeah, it's right here.
Sleeping bags,
Got enough carbon gas for 3 on it. Man, I don't know about this guy.
Second premise is that...
about me?
No, about this...
Oh, about this guy.
Derrick Jenson. His name is... So here's his second premise. Traditional communities do not give up the resources on which communities are based on until their communities are destroyed. So that's his second premise.
Seven guy.
Give up or sell the resources on which their communities are based.
You know what we should
until their communines have been destroyed.
And make it not legal. I'll let me fish for a little bit though. I want to cut off fishing
other
for
resources,
like
gold,
a month,
oil, and
like
so
5
on,
months.
Can be extracted.
What?
Like stop fishing for
It
5 months.
Those who want
straight,
the resources will do what they can to destroy traditional communities.
Yeah, like there needs to be more.
Or like a year. Wait 1 year, a whole year. You cannot fish for salmon. If you catch a salmon, you have to catch and release.
Yeah, so he doesn't really go too much into his second premise here.
Like you should catch and release all the salmon, but get trout head and all that. Because there's more trout than salmon right now. What did he say?
Gotta go. Suzuki, meet me at Safeway in 311. If I'm done by then, but you could just come right on over, Rip City. That's Stefan.
Oh, it's Stefan?
Yeah, I
didn't know that was Stefan.
Yeah, he subscribed to me. Yeah, he subscribed to me too. Yeah. Yeah, all my homies subscribe to me.
Okay, so when I rap, it's you that's telling me to rap, because I'm good at it, I
Other
guess.
resources, gold, oil, and so on, can be extracted.
Well, Joe's in there too.
It follows that those who want the
Joe's
resources...
in there.
Yeah, no, Joe really wants me to rap.
Yeah.
Because he likes me.
Third premise.
No, it's me.
Our way of living.
No, it's me. Yeah, I can see that, bro. LOL, it's an epic...
It's Eric Andre joke. Oh, I don't know too much about Eric Andre.
And afterwards, this guy raised his hand and he said, you talk about also do not willingly allow their land bases to be damaged so that other resources,
I'm going to go into his third premise here, because he goes more into his third premise.
It follows that those who want the resources will do what they can to destroy traditional communities, as we see. Third premise.
So his second premise is saying that traditional ways of living shouldn't be trading off, or at least be more aware of trading with resources and trading off. Whoa.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, and being more aware of trading and with resource gathering, because those who take the resources are generally.
No. Let me see. Let me see if it's twist up.
It's not twist.
More bit.
It's not twist.
Let me just fuck with it. Okay, I don't know. Let's see if I can do it.
Really?
Oh, come on! I like that's
I have a ball cap opener for a reason.
That's cheap, bro. You have to be skilled and fucking pop it off the table. I've done it once, and I broke the bottle, and I actually almost drank glass.
Oh my god. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, because
okay.
Yeah. So here's this third premise. Well, hold on. He'll go into it.
Our way of living, industrial civilization, is based on, requires, and will collapse very quickly without persistent and widespread violence. I gave a talk a few years ago in Eugene, and afterwards this guy raised his hand and he said, you know, you talk about how violent this culture is, and I just don't see it. There's no violence in my life. I'm not violent myself. I don't see any violence. And it's significant to this story, by the way, that it was a man who said it, not a woman. And I said, okay, where's your shirt made? And he looked, it was made in Bangladesh. And I said, do we even need to talk about that? He's like, no. I said, okay. And also, I'm just wondering, do you pay rent? He's like, yeah. I said, why? He said, because I don't own. I said, no.
So what he's saying is that for long-living industrialized civilization to sustain, it needs to have widespread violence. And so what he's saying is, like, for example, like he was talking about their friend's shirt or this person's shirt made in Bangladesh, and there's definitely some violence that have been being used with that, because I mean, look how these workers are treated in these third world countries that are
fucked up, dude. Fucked up, dude. They're getting treated like dog shit. And like obviously like dog shit. It's so fucked up.
In some places, it's literally they live at the factories they work at, and they get paid like
not even enough to survive.
Yeah, just enough to have like a bowl of rice.
Being on the real, they don't make enough money to fucking eat. Damn near alone, have clothes on their own fucking back. It is fucked up. They should raise up the fucking shit for them and actually have a comedy or economy, you know, all grouped together and actually be on helping the environment and helping each other. That's what we should do.
Yeah, more.
Like, I would help you any day, any time.
Right? Yeah, like a more centralized planned economy. That's why I call myself a democratic socialist when it comes to economics, because I think if we don't have a plan, if we don't have a planned economy to, you know, make sure workers are treated fairly all around the world, and to make sure that everyone has a comfortable, you know, sustainable way of living. You know, it doesn't have to be luxurious or nothing, but comfortable and living. You know, so people can at least enjoy a life outside of work. You know, so I mean. That's why that's where a lot of my main basis when it comes to democratic socialism comes from, is the fact that there is a lot of oppression around the world, the fact that there is a lot of, you know, wage slavery going on, including here in America. I mean, you know, and I do want that to change. So I mean, I do. Well, why do you keep always hitting the boots? You always hit my boots.
It's because that is life. Right. I always get the ass end of the stick, bro.
Let me get you a grain here.
You like
but anyway,
okay, what else?
Yeah, so I do definitely.
Do you believe that he would help?
This guy, well, you know, I mean, what I'm doing mainly is just dissecting into kind of his own philosophy on the world and what he believes in, and then kind of just going in and, you know, offering critique where I think is needed, where I don't agree, where, you know, I do agree. You know, et cetera, et cetera. You know, I like with this guy specifically able to help the world, probably not, because I mean, it doesn't take one individual to do that.
It takes many.
Yeah, I mean, while you know he does have a very individualistic worldview, but I mean, yeah, like with his third premise here, I definitely do agree with what he has to say about that. Definitely. As communism, though, maybe. I mean, democratic socialism is definitely not communism, because those are two different varying ideologies, and communism is also more authoritarian. And also, it's the whole government controlling everything, and I definitely don't agree with that. But, like, because with democratic socialism, it's the people that are in control, that are, who are the ones that are, you know, going about how they want things done for their from their local community to the state to the whole country. And So, like, when it comes to, like, for example, the way the United States, so when it comes to the United States, for example, like, a lot of the way it conducts government bodyship, I actually do agree with. Like, I think there should be a judicial branch. I think there should also be, you know, the Congress. I wouldn't have, like, electoral college, but maybe I would probably keep a senatorship as, like, but reformed it to a different part of the Congress. And then, you know, and then also, you know, I also have the presidentship as well. I mean, so what am I then, a socialist? Well, democratic socialist. That's like one of my core beliefs is what that is. And it's not totally socialist, and it's more like a more left-leaning social democracy is what it is, more or less. There's more socialism into democratic socialism than social democracy, but it's not full-out socialism. Well, hold on.
I got it. You talking.
I know. I got this too. I mean, I just finished my talk, and now we're about to get back into that. So, there we go.
Bro, you know what's funny, though? If we actually help, like, if we could stop for, like, a year, one whole year, just one whole year, of fishing, just 1 year, that would help the fish.
Because there will be one whole generation that humans aren't farming out of, basically.
Basically, it would help us a lot.
Yeah.
So that means...
I mean, that's just the example of fishing. Just, I mean, but you can also make the same example with certain other forms of animal consumption as well, like even deer. But, I mean...
Yeah, dude,
I mean, though, deer is very endangered.
I want to go hunting, so...
I do, too.
I want to go fishing, too. But I don't got the money. Dude, it's so goddamn expensive.
Well, the thing is...
to kill all fish, just to go get fish. Like...
I mean, well, for hunting, like, if you go hunting deer, it's not as expensive. Yeah, or elk, yeah. I mean, it's not that, it's not as expensive. You just need to have the hunting license and then a rifle and some ammunition, you know?
Oh, I got a rifle. I got ammunition. I don't need no damn fucking tags to go hunting on my own property.
Well, if it's on your own property, but I mean, if you're going to go hunt at, like, you know, in the middle of the forest, and you just you just need a permit.
Bam! I'm gonna kill it and fucking cut it up, fucking get my food, drink the blood when I kill the fucking thing, and I'm gonna eat its fucking heart. Native tribe.
Well, that's my
native in me. I will do that.
Well, yeah,
I haven't done it yet, so I need to do it.
And also another tradition I love about Native Americans is that they use every part of that animal.
Fucking animal.
Yeah.
They don't waste none of it.
Yeah,
they even use the fucking skin. I'd sell my skin, honestly.
Yeah, you can make it like a pelt.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, like if I were to...
Or a blanket or something.
Yeah. Oh, yes, there you go.
Oh my God,
and then, with bones, you can make tools and weapons out of that. With the stomach, you can make a pouch out of that. And with the intestinal lining, you could probably even make, you can either use that for, like, food by making, like, a sausage or something, or you can either use it for, like, a roping or something to tie stuff with, if you salt and dry it right. But, yeah, I mean, there's so many examples with, you know, how to live sustainably on your own, and I do kind of want to do that at some point. Like, I do want to buy, I always do that.
I did roll into it.
Oh, okay, well.
Yeah, so I'm like, sorry.
It's all good. But, yeah, like, I do, like, eventually at some point want to buy a plot of land and, you know, have a nice house over there, and then eventually, well, I'm not ready yet, but then eventually, you know, have, like, my own sources of food that I can get there, you know? But, oh my bad, there you go. Just extra close, okay. But yeah, so let's continue on with his examples of the third premise here.
What would happen if you didn't pay rent? So I get evicted. I said, what does that mean? I don't understand. What happens when you get evicted? And he said, well, the sheriff would come to my house, and he would... I said, stop right there. What happens? The sheriff comes to your house, and you say, hey, I was just getting done cooking dinner. Come on in. Have some food. So the sheriff comes in, sits down, and you cook him dinner, and you feed him, and you don't poison him. And then after dinner, you say to him, you know, it's been nice having you here, but your company's not all that pleasant, so I would like for you to leave my home now. What would happen? He said, well, the sheriff would take out his gun and he'd say, I'm here to evict you. You gotta leave, because you didn't pay your rent. I said, so the reason you pay rent is because if you don't, some guy is gonna come to your house with a gun and he's gonna kick you out of your home. He's like, I guess. I said, okay, let's try it again. What happens if you're really hungry, and so you go to the grocery store, lots of food there, you know, and you just start eating? What's going to happen? So we're going to call the sheriff. He's going to come. He's the same guy. He's a real asshole, isn't he? The sheriff's going to come and take you away. So what this means is that in order for you to survive, in order for you to have a place to sleep, a place to be,
right,
you have to pay somebody. And in order to eat, you have to pay somebody. That's really weird. And if you don't, somebody with a gun is going to come and do something bad to you. So
this is also kind of a part of that industrialized world can only be sustained with violence. Is because if you don't essentially, what's the word I'm looking for? Assimilate into the industrialized society of living in these in big cities, and
what if you can't get a job even in a big ass city? What if you can't get a job and you're on the streets because you cannot get a job and you've been trying and trying.
And you just can't go into a store and eat food. A cop's gonna come over and arrest you for stealing and just eating. And and also if you don't pay your rent and get evicted, you can't live there anymore. So then they're gonna take you out in cuffs most likely. So yes, I mean. And if you resist, they're gonna,
beat your ass.
Yeah,
with the fucking beat stick.
And also not even that, but also a lot of impoverished communities get targeted by a lot of especially corrupt police forces around this country, and then look what happens. I mean, innocent people get shot and killed.
World War III, nigga.
Yeah, then then you get people who.
No, I'm just joking. It causes World War III though.
Yeah, I mean, well, a revolution maybe, but I mean.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, but it's all good. I'm just like, oh shit. But yeah, I mean, we have innocent people who are just getting shot and killed by corrupt police.
Why is it black and white, bro?
Because for these particular videos, I'm thinking of doing them in more of a fancy black and white form, because this is Ignarism. This is delving off philosophy, and. Yeah, I mean that's what the this whole stream episodes are going to be like. These particular ones are going to be in this type of form, because that'll be like oh shit, okay. Yeah.
Part of the reason a lot of us don't see the violence is because part of the reason is a different subject. Part of the reason is because a lot of the violence is exported. I was doing a talk in Massachusetts a few years ago, and somebody said to me afterwards, we now are living way more sustainably than they did 100 years ago. And I said, how do you know that? They said, because there's a lot more trees here in Massachusetts than there were 100 years ago. I said, yeah, it's because you're getting all your wood from South America.
Oh, shit.
So a lot of the violence is simply exported. And then the other part of it is a lot of us don't perceive this violence because we've been so metabolized into the system and we so accept its premises that there's no need to do violence to us because we're standing straight in line. But of course, if we step out the tiniest bit, gotta watch out. But we're not gonna do that. Okay, now we go to the fourth premise. This culture civilization.
Catch.
This I think might be my favorite premise.
You ain't dying on me today.
It's based on a clearly defined.
All right. Well, we'll watch spilled that. That's fine. I can replace it.
Yeah, you can replace the water, but you can't replace the bong, and you can't replace this.
Yeah.
And now I smell like bong water.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, I can't smell like weed. Where I'll be going to today.
Oh.
So I'm fucked.
Oh shit.
And I have to leave pretty soon.
Well, get some Axe. I have some Axe somewhere. Some deodorant or some shit.
Yeah, I always come prepared.
Always.
Motherfucking club.
There you go. Just say that someone spilled water on you and that's it. Just water. Just that Aquafina.
No, my friend accidentally dropped his bong, which I wasn't smoking. Lies. You don't lie. Wait, what did he say?
Oh shit, yeah, let me scroll down here on this one. Because the chat disappears on that, I just go over to, where's my mouse? What the fuck? There it is. All nicey smell. It's an all nicey smell.
Yes.
Oh man, I think they use maple bacon. That tastes a little bit like maple. Oh god, yes. I love this burrito.
Wait,
okay,
that's where you get it
now
from?
we go to the fourth premise.
Is that the burrito you're talking about?
This culture, civilization,
Oh my.
this I think might be my favorite premise of the book, is based on a clearly defined and widely accepted, yet often unarticulated hierarchy.
I'll be back.
Violence done by those higher on the hierarchy to those lower is nearly always transparent, invisible, it's unnoticed.
Unnoticed.
When it is noticed, it's fully rationalized.
And violence is only accepted from the top down. That was the other part of his first premise there.
See, that's retarded.
Yeah. Yeah, so I kind of do agree with that premise as well, because think about it. I mean, we already kind of discussed it with, especially with like a lot of the police violence that goes on around the country as well, especially with the corrupt police departments. And, you know, you can't, and he actually does make that example. I mean, because if you're at a protest, you can't take a bat and start swinging at a cop, but they can use their billy club and start beating on a protester. I mean, even if they haven't been doing anything wrong, or even if they did. So, I mean, I definitely do agree with this premise of him. That's why I kind of picked him at first, because I kind of, there's a lot of things I do agree with, but a lot of what he gets into, I think he might get into later in this premise as well, is where he loses me. I mean, which we'll go into later. I mean, but a lot of his main premises is I do kind of agree with. I mean, I'll either like, I haven't like full outright disagreed, but I have like had, you know, more like rebuttals with an agreement. Like, I do agree, but more of this is why, and more of my reasoning instead, which is why I kind of like doing to start with this one, because this one is I mean, because this guy's, you know, he does have some pretty good points about some of his things on the worldview, which it's just that later again, you know, there'll just be points where he, you know, his kind of more eco-terroristic extreme side comes out.
Violence done by those lower on the hierarchy to those higher is met with is unthinkable, and when it does happen, it's met with shock, horror, and the fetishization of the victims. And there's so many examples of this. One example is within my own family when I was a kid. My father was extremely violent, and
I have to clean the house up.
You know, so the violence flowed constantly downhill. And the one time that my brother ever fought back, he got beaten far worse than any other time, because of course he had committed blasphemy by sending violence up the hierarchy. That's one example. Another example is, I live where there's tons of bears near where I live. And I just love seeing, so cool. A mother and baby bear actually fell asleep outside my mom's house the other day. And so I was thinking about that afterwards. How many wild animals have I ever seen asleep?
I just feel like you don't have to.
Bears.
Friends help out friends, bro. And
maybe some grasshoppers.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, but yeah, I just, you know, it's just like,
dude, friends help out friends, and the family's gonna come down, and you've been coming over, and you've been help making the mess. Why not help clean? Think outside that. You know, think outside the box. It's about respect.
It's better than a certain old friend that I used to have, even lived here for a little bit.
Ouch.
Anyway, so I mean, but
he knows
people,
who he
and
is,
I walk through the forest all the
he
time.
He ain't watching my streams. I really doubt it. But if he is, then
he walks
yeah, he knows who he is.
No lantern.
This is being disrespectful.
Hey. Anyway, so I walk through the forest. I'm scared of the feds, frankly, not the bears. Anyway, so I walk through the forest at night, and people go, "Oh my God, aren't you scared about the bears? I mean, they could.
You've been smoking.
They could attack or something."
Basically.
I know that there is one person dies in North America every other year from bear attacks, and 46,000 Americans die every year because of automobile crashes. So we're scared of the wrong thing. I mean, we should walk through a parking lot and it's like, oh my God, you know, the cars are all going. Oh, here's another one. You know, I live in Crescent City, which I live like 3 miles from the ocean, and I never go swimming in the ocean. You know why? Because that fucking movie Jaws. You know? I saw when I was the same age. The acting was so good in that movie too. And I swear, I mean, I get within like 30 yards of the ocean and I start hearing the fucking theme song. And, you know, or there's this movie, what was it, Spring Break Shark Attack, I think like a year ago or something. I wish there was so many sharks still on the planet. You know, the ratio of human attacks on sharks to shark attacks on humans is about 20 million to 1. But who are the ones who are the killing machines?
We?
Okay, that's another example.
We are the killing machines. In the water, they're the killing machines.
Cops. Oh my god, cops. Okay.
Yeah, like he used an environmental sense of it first, which was, yeah, like there's shark attacks, you know, every year. Yeah, I mean, especially like in places like Australia and maybe like in the coast of California, maybe. I mean, I don't know exactly where all the sharks are, but I know in Australia.
What about LA? I mean, not LA.
Miami?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I mean, there's probably gator attacks there, too. I mean, but...
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because, I mean, also...
don't forget about the swamps.
Yeah, but with the sharks, going back to that is... I mean, let's just look at places like Japan, for example, who hunt sharks all the time, because that's, you know, one of their main food sources, and would kill... And they... I mean, not just to pick on Japan on this, but, I mean, they kill, like... thousands and thousands of sharks every year for you know, seafood markets and stuff like that, and selling it for food. So and
making money.
Yeah.
See.
So I mean, you know, in a lot of ways, you know,
it's all about making that money.
Yeah.
It's all about making. It's all about making that green.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it just can't be, because you know we should just sustain ourselves and, you know, make sure that we protect our environment just as much as we sustain and, you know, live comfortable lives of ourselves.
Making money, man. You know what I mean?
That too. I mean, you know, and, you know, the whole goal in the end will be, you know, because we're all making the money. And that's how it should be. Everybody should be making a little bit of money, you know?
Even if they don't have a job.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that goes to the whole thing of needing a safety net and public housing. So if people...
The homeless, man. We can get the homeless off the streets, because there is billions of... unabandoned houses, abandoned.
Look at Detroit.
Up. All they need to do, dude, all they need to do is fix them the fuck up, and every one homeless person to 5 houses. Statistics, please.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that. I mean, because...
Yeah, 1 out of 5. So.
And it only costs about, what? I think about 30 million, 300 million, I think, to end homelessness in this country, I think. It's either that or 30 million or something like that. It's not a large number, and that's just in the United States alone. And in the end, in the long term, that's actually an investment, because you'd be saving money in the end, because they're going to be having a place where they can live. So they're going to be able to, you know...
get off the drugs if they're on drugs.
Yeah, and that also goes in, you know, needing public rehabilitation centers. I mean, there's a lot of private organizations to do the same thing, but...
Like CODA.
But there's so many processes they have to go through, and you have to meet certain requirements. Like, that shouldn't be necessary, you know? The fact that the person wants rehabilitation, needs to, and wants to get into it should be,
allowed to get into it anytime they want.
Yeah. I mean, it shouldn't be forced, but they should, you know...
Yeah,
but
recommend it. The law should recommend
Yeah,
it.
and if you
and try to help. Instead of saying, fuck you, you have to go, motherfucker, suck a dick.
So, yeah, and if a cop does catch you doing it, then that will be like my only exception as to, alright, you're going dropped off to a rehabilitation center, get yourself help. Like,
go to prison... and then get out and say, "Hey, are you clean yet?"
Well, I mean, the thing is, you should be in prison when you go, when you are doing that shit. Like, I mean, you should just be, you know, just going to the rehabilitation centers. I think, you know, if cops were dropping them off at rehab centers instead of prisons, you know.
But at the same time, if they went to prison though, they can't do the drug. So is it getting out of the system? Yes.
Well,
would that help their mindset to get better?
If our prisons were more, if our prison systems were more centered towards rehabilitation, then maybe. But our prison systems are corrupt, and I mean, there's the private prison industry, which, you know, and then there's sheriffs like Joe Arpaio and Dennis Clark who are absolute vile human beings.
I have to say this. The new chief of police can go suck a dick in my opinion, and I think. Because he had no rights to threaten me that he's gonna whoop my ass. Threaten me, for God's sake. Saying he's gonna beat my ass. And I'm like, in my opinion, and I think, officer, take your badge and your gun off and make me have a jail-free card for after I'm done hitting you, I don't go to jail.
Damn.
Like, let me have if you really want to threaten me, I will protect myself. I don't give a fuck if there's no self-defense law in Oregon. They can suck my dick. I have to protect myself.
I think there's a castle law, which is you can defend your property.
Yeah, that's property.
Yeah, I mean...
What about myself? I'm my own property.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, you know...
What the fuck? That's like
there should be...
Right there.
I mean, yeah, because there are, you know, and I wish police unions and just police in general would just call out and deal with these problems in their police forces. Because even Portland has some. Because not too long ago, I read an article where they executed a homeless guy in a homeless shelter. Like, straight up. Yeah, and the guy had nothing on him. The dude was unarmed, and he was just standing there. And he was, like, totally clueless what was happening. Probably was asleep, because it was, like, very early in the morning, I think. Or very late at night, either or. But...
So that's fucked up.
Yeah, and now it's in Portland, like, one of the most progressive cities, especially...
that's helping out the homeless. I'm trying, at least.
Well, not really, because Ted Reeler's kind of a piece of shit, because he's trying to, you know, deal with homeless by the wrong way. He literally tried banning sitting in sidewalks around a certain store, because the CEO of Columbia Corporation, bought him off, essentially, gave him money to block off sitting and loitering around sidewalks.
On stores.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? If you have a sidewalk on your property or on the side of your property, did you know you have to pay for that?
Most
taxes.
likely.
Taxes, bro. Taxes.
Well, I mean, that's going towards, like, public infrastructure,
just like
so I don't mind that.
Water. Just like the water hitting on the roof going into the drain. We had to pay for that, if you didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's some places around this country where they try to...
catch rainwater.
Yeah, where you can't do rainwater catching.
You can't do it here.
Really?
Yeah, you do it here, you will go to fucking prison.
Yeah.
For real. No, not jail. Prison. It's federally against the law because it's... fuck, I forgot.
Well, because corporations like Coca-Cola want to make money on selling water. Like Refresh. And Aquafina and shit. They just want to make more money getting that water instead of people wanting to collect their own. Because I've always thought about collecting my own rainwater. We technically are with that hot tub not in use right now. I mean...
Oh, you have a hot tub?
Well, yeah, it's just not in use because it needs to get fixed up. But, yeah.
Get that shit fixed. I want to come over.
I know.
In the wintertime, bro.
Wintertime, hell yeah. Well, yeah, let's go back into these premises because we went on a nice long tangent on that. I mean, this stream was meant to be a little longer one because, we're just delving into philosophy and then just, what it's just a different view on the world, yeah, because that's the whole point about the free market of ideas is to open up to different views and opinions.
Every day in the United States, between 4 and 6 Americans die because they encountered police. That's through beatings, shootings, high-speed chases, medical neglect in prisons and jails. Between 4 and 6 Americans die every day. And on the other hand, every time a cop dies, it's this big state funeral, with the bumper stickers, some gave all gave some, But does anybody here know what the most dangerous civil service profession is? Garbage collection. Way the hell more dangerous than a cop because you're sitting next to these big fucking machines. These cars are like, we're gonna nail your ass. But when was the last time you saw a state funeral for a garbage collector? With a bumper sticker, some gave all and all gave some. Or when was the last time you saw a Tom Cruise movie where this intrepid garbage man is cleaning up the mean streets of LA? It just doesn't happen because it doesn't valorize that violence that flows down. Okay, if you don't believe me, the violence with the whole cop thing, the violence I saw this thing in the paper not very long ago. This is actually about a year ago, where cops shot a motorist. And so it's like, okay, yeah.
By the way, this is about the early 2000s, so it is a little older, but, I still find it kind of relevant, though.
sharpshooter motorist, no big deal.
Little bit.
And then also he was, the thing is, he was
well, because this was before 9/11, I think.
Like the media didn't know what to do with that.
Right after,
because suddenly the violence is like, okay, and plus he was Hispanic, I think. So it's like the violence is like, oh, you know, it's like. Anyway, if you don't believe me about the violence is only allowed to flow one direction with that, the next time there's one of those, like the next time there's a big protest or something, maybe anti-war or anti so-called free trade, you know, whatever. Just do an experiment, which is take a baseball bat and then just walk up to one of the policemen and say, "Excuse me, Officer Friendly, nothing personal. I'm just conducting an experiment." And hit him, and then hit him a couple more times real fast, and then.
That's funny. Hit him a couple more times.
It's just like looking over at
somebody's gonna take down your name. Okay, so anyway, and then I'll talk to you in about 50 years, because you've committed blasphemy. You've sent violence up the hierarchy. Another example. 9/11. You know, it's like when was the last time that you saw a politician?
So it was just right after
mention 9/11. It was 9/10 actually. Because that was sending violence up the hierarchy for someone in some other country to actually attack Americans, as opposed to there are 500,000 children die every year as a direct result of so-called debt repayment. But of course those are invisible. Those don't count. You know, what was it, like 2,800 Americans died because of the whole 9/11 thing. There was there are about that many, there's about, 15,000 Americans die every 2 weeks because of preventable cancers, I believe. But of course, that doesn't count as terrorism. That's not violence. Let's see. Right. There are, how many Americans die every year because of unsafe working conditions? Is it 6,000 Americans die? 60,000 Americans die.
Oh, she didn't die. She killed herself.
Well, yeah, my grandma might actually die of cancer here, too.
She was going to die of cancer. She just couldn't hold on.
Yeah, and then my mom's dad died of cancer, and my mom luckily fought it off. But, I mean, she's still going for hell due to the repercussions of that. But, yeah, I mean, and also think about the 30 to 45,000 people who die every year of lack of health care.
Hey, at least it's not you.
I could get cancer, too. I mean, anyone could. Anyone can.
Colon cancer. Runs in my family on the boys' side deep and hard.
Wow.
At a young age.
Wow, damn.
It's like 20 to 25. I had to go get myself a colonoscopy back. You think I want to finger up my ass, boys and girls? Hell no.
Oh my God, I don't even want to think about having or a prostate exam. Oh
yeah,
God.
no, thank you.
No, thank you. Oh, your comment. I think when you get your show going, making things monetary, you could have Shotgun Boy do a rap opening or close the rap, help give him a little something. Going to be his agent now. One thing I want to do is before when I do the show, I'm going to have a 10-minute intermission period where we do play some music or just show some past highlights or something like that. And then for the outro, I'd also have a little bit of music that's local or my own.
Top it up.
Oh, what? Okay.
I give him that D-bop. Take that. I'm putting in work. I'ma do that ASAP.
Let me tell you about your first prostate exam, man. Oh, God.
Oh, God.
All right. Oh, no.
Yeah, fuck.
All right, lay it on me. Go ahead.
Let's get
disturb us.
Maybe.
Well, it's going to take a moment for the comment to come through, so we'll...
I just open this up.
1,000 Americans.
There's
6 million.
Actually. This is bomb.
Every American dies every year because of unsafe working.
This sangria is really good too.
Okay, I never tried that one either.
I think it's 6,000.
New ones, bro.
It's 60,000.
Strawberry, I tried.
Anyway, it's more.
This one,
but that doesn't count.
No, that's just a different one. I love it.
I want to say one more thing about this, which is that
it's non-alcoholic. So
and this is going to does anybody mind if I swear? I think that the word fuck is the most amazing word in the English language. Because it's all of patriarchy condensed into 4 letters. Because the same word that means make love to means do great violence to. That's really...
Fuck me.
Really
okay, hold on. He's typed.
You'll feel a little something he says. Dr. Love laughs and puts a finger up your ass. Oh man, daddy. Oh god. Oh man.
Okay, that's a little awkward, bro.
Oh my
did
Lord.
you enjoy it or something? I'm just asking, being real.
Yeah, we all enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. But
they better fuck me up before they put a finger up my ass.
So this guy is a feminist too, by the way.
You can kind of tell.
Because he mentioned fuck as like the patriarchy in 4 words, but I kind of oh, there you go. Yeah, if you want to pick or something, I don't know.
I'll give you some weed, bro.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, because he I kind of consider myself feminist too, which I mean I don't know why he delves into this example for what he's talking about, because it's, you know, I don't think it really helps with his entire argument really. I mean it was also a different time at the 2 as well, but I mean I feel like it could have probably done something a little different, because I mean I consider myself feminist, and just, you know, I think women should just be treated equally. And
no shit.
I mean,
just like if they hit you, you should be able to hit a fucking female back. They can kill you, guys. They hit you in your nuts just right. 1 hit can kill you. If you did not know, they hit you just right in your nuts.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, they can rupture your nuts and then you die.
It's also kind of confusing.
Bleed inside out.
So somebody can say to me, like, I'm gonna fuck
bleeding.
you.
Yep.
Like,
Fuck that. I want to act like a man, you can hit like a man.
I need more information. But it's really messed up. I mean that sex and violence get conflated. That's really disturbing. They get conflated in that word. And then in addition, actually understanding that helped me understand homophobia, which I had never understood prior to sort of getting that understanding. I mean, I always thought homophobia is just really stupid. I mean, if you don't like homosexuals, you probably shouldn't date one.
Simple enough, yeah.
But I understood it. There's this great line by Catherine McKinnon.
I like my bi women.
Man fucks woman, subject, verb, object. Man
One day
fucks
we need
woman,
to put
subject,
Shotgun
verb,
Boy in a
object.
hot seat for questioning.
Fact.
I listened to his last rap real good. Seemed like he was telling a story about his life.
But I was talking just a little bit,
I mean, even within the
about my
context
life.
of a loving heterosexual relationship, this shows how deeply the objectification
I've been down
of
a
women,
bad road.
how deep the objectification of women goes within this culture and within our language, is even within the context of a loving heterosexual relationship, it's really hard to not have the woman get objectified. So the man says to the woman, I would like to be inside of you. You know what just happened? She's the object of the sentence. Okay, on the other hand, the woman says to the man, I would like for you to be inside me. You know what? She's still the object of the sentence. So the man says to the woman, I would like for you to be around me. And she's like, I'm sorry, can you speak English? I don't know what you want. And anyway, about the homophobia thing, I never understood that at all until, this is back in the whole Clinton don't ask, don't tell thing, where it's like okay for homosexuals to be in the military as long as you don't talk about it. I guess you can do whatever you want, you just can't talk. Anyway, but which, by the way, I have to say, full disclosure here, I have to say that I actually agree that homosexuals should not be allowed in the military. I feel very strongly, actually, that homosexuals should not be allowed in the military. But that probably doesn't mean as much as it could, because I also think that heterosexuals, asexuals, the transgendered, bisexuals should not be allowed in the military either.
Oh, fuck you, punk!
He's literally just saying that no one should really be in the military, because overall I think he kind of agrees that there shouldn't be a military in general. Like I
understand
like,
that, but damn, dude, saying even bi.
Well, he just literally said everybody practically, because he
Yeah.
said heterosexuals, asexuals, trans. Like he said everybody practically on the whole list. So I mean, yeah, like he just kind of said it in a really weird way, essentially. But he kind of just said like, you know, no one. I don't think there should be a military, basically. That's kind of what he said.
There's a little bit of weed, Brady.
Nice.
You're welcome.
Which I don't agree with, because I still believe in a head of government. So
Pass me the bong.
So this is like where a lot of his anarcho-primitivism comes in play.
What did he say?
Remember, it's not how many times you're knocked down in life it makes you, it's the getting up.
Yeah, guess what? It's just like this. Hold on, I got something just for you then. Sometimes the smallest step in the right direction ends up being the biggest step of your life. Tiptoe if you must, but take that first step. Amen, brother, amen. Like, for real. I am taking the first step of living my life. Yeah, I went through hell and back, and I come again and again and again for it, because guess what? Nothing's gonna knock me down that I cannot get back up from. I am being real. I've been knocked down so fucking hard that I wish I was dead. But am I dead? I tried. Tell you the honest truth, I tried to kill myself. I said fuck me. Who gives a fuck about me? Guess what I look forward to? My daughter, bro. For real. My daughter.
That too. She's pretty cute too.
Oh, dude, she's a fucking adorable, bro.
She is.
What the fuck you talking about?
She's adorable.
Oh, but I did have this idea. I had this idea like 2 months ago, which is, what about if you have it so each one has their own army?
I don't think I've seen her yet.
You know, like you have the bisexual brigade to the rescue or something, you know?
Bisexual brigade, yeah, that's us right there. we came out of nowhere.
So in the whole Clinton Don't Ask, Don't Tell thing,
yeah.
I was listening to...
I got it this time. It was just like, right there
NPR,
the last time.
I'm sorry.
And then I tried grabbing it and started following and I was like, oh, shit.
And we both like went...
And there was this military spokesman, man, of course, saying that he said...
Oh, shit.
The reason that homosexuals should not be allowed in the military, he said, can you imagine what would happen if a lieutenant had sex with a private? I'm thinking, sure, I can imagine that, but that wasn't his point. And he said it would destroy chain of command.
Amen.
Oh no, I'm sorry, I screwed it up. Sorry. He said, sorry, this is very important. He did not
rock
say
on, bro, rock on.
Can you imagine what would happen if a private has sex with a lieutenant? It makes all the difference in the
gorilla.
world. Because he said it would destroy chain of command. Not because the lieutenant would fall so in love with the private that he couldn't order him to his death, but instead, as I said, it would destroy chain of command. Because when you have man fucks woman, subject verb object, when you have sex and violence get conflated, and violence can only flow downhill, that means that you have to have a fucker and a fucky.
A fucker
with the
and a
fucky
fucky
being lower on the hierarchy than the fucker. And if you have the fucker and the fucky, or if you have the fucker and the fucky are equivalent, then all the little tiny brains seize up. And because the hierarchy is no longer in place, which helps me understand, by the way, why a lot of the fundamentalist Christians consider homosexuality a blasphemy, because it's sending that sexualized violence the wrong direction. Fifth premise.
So yeah, I mean, you could he's making an example with sex, basically. I think with a hierarchy. Oh my god.
Puppy.
Oh my god. But but he's using essentially like violence is only allowed through the hierarchy top down, which we already did go through a lot of examples of it. He was just kind of going through his own there. So I mean, overall, yeah, I mean, I do agree with that, because, I mean, there's plenty of examples. I mean, look how the United States becomes the world police and essentially like trying to be the hierarchy of the world in that sense. And then look how, like, a lot of politicians are corrupted into, like, the fossil fuel industries, the pharmaceutical industries, with the hierarchy of people, dying of illnesses and diseases that could have been preventable. And then,
and they
killing off the planet.
And the government has this cure for cancer, certain types of cancer.
Or at least just preventable ones that, don't have to, get killed by,
Yeah, and you have to pay millions and millions of dollars just to fucking have that little thing. It's like,
or be lucky that insurance covers
or
some of it.
Or yeah, fucking quota of it.
Yeah, at most.
Shit, beat your meat, guys, beat your meat, because guess what? That's all you get. You won't have shit.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So... yeah, I mean, I do definitely agree with it. He just kind of used a weird example about it, but overall, I do agree with that premise. So here's the
property of those higher on the hierarchy is more valuable than the lives of those below. It is acceptable for those above to increase the amount of property they control, in everyday language, to make money, by destroying or taking the lives of those below. This is called production. If those below damage the property of those above may kill or otherwise destroy the lives of those below. This is called justice. sixth premise is the one that I sort of alluded to early on.
So his fifth one he didn't really get too much into, but he's essentially saying that the properties of the hierarchy are more valuable than the ones below it. So I do also agree with that as well, because I mean, again, I mean, look how we treat, you know, a lot of the hierarchies, like,
dude,
especially if, like, I heard
bow to master, bow to master.
Oh, the great,
be fucked. Better
justice,
be fucked.
Justice is in the eye of the beholder. Mm.
Hey, but put it like this: only you can prevent forest fires, bro. Only you can prevent forest fires. This is one of my quotas for today.
One of the quotas. Yeah, and I mean,
quotas like quota. But hold on, man, I'm just being decoded.
Yeah.
Hey.
Nice. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Then I mean, also look at I mean, and I saw there's an example of this royal wedding or some stupid bullshit. Apparently, 3 million people are gonna watch that, and it's just like, fuck that. It's like I'm not. That's just so vile, honestly. But I mean, it shows how much, you know, worth it and how much more valuable it is for that they are compared to, you know, some random dude's wedding from somewhere, you know, bumfuck nowhere, you know what I mean? So I mean, it's just like, you know, it's just that I overall do agree with his fifth premise there, but here's his sixth premise.
This culture is not redeemable. The culture won't undergo any sort of voluntary transformation to a sane, sustainable way of living. If we don't put a halt to it, civilization, this culture, will continue to eviscerate the vast majority of humans and to degrade the planet until it, civilization, and probably the planet, collapses. The effects of this degradation will continue to harm humans and non-humans for a very long time.
So what he's saying here in his sixth premise is that that humans cannot voluntarily go to a sane, sustainable way of living, which we kind of did go into a little bit earlier in the beginning of the stream. And I like I said, I did agree with that, because he was saying that he just mentioning here that that the only real way that could happen is if like some major violent impact were to happen that would like essentially destroy civilization. I believe justice is a very open class of discussion. Yeah, I do in a way believe so too in a lot of cases. I mean, that's why we have a court system, so we can, you know, discuss what type of justice might be needed or not needed into it. So I mean, which I kind of love judicial courts a lot in that sense. With that, I see much in my life that was justified that I never saw the justice. Yeah, so do I too in many ways as well. I mean, there's plenty of examples I could bring off too. Like I mean, our friend Spike, who was on some of my streams earlier, he was in my window the last time I did my WeTube videos, and he got evicted from his house and ended up being homeless, and the bank that owned it was Wells Fargo. So you know, big banks don't give a fuck about, you know, what happens with people here, and then, you know, they don't, you know, there's no justice that was ever seen where, you know, there could have been. So, I mean, you know, it's just, that's another example of the fifth premise that you made there. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, I do agree with a lot what this guy does say, but I mean, I think he's about to go into it here in this premise, or the next one, where I end up starting to disagree with him, but let's continue here.
Seventh premise. The longer we wait for civilization to crash, or the longer we wait before we ourselves bring it down, the messier will be the crash, and the worse things will be for those humans and non-humans who live during it, and for those who come after. If somebody would have brought down civilization, whatever that means, 200 years ago, if Tecumseh would have won, then people in the East would still be able to eat passenger pigeons. I mean, never minding passenger pigeons' beautiful existence for themselves. If somebody would have brought down civilization 100 years ago, people in this region, through the crash, would still be able to eat salmon. There's going to be people sitting along the banks of the Columbia 50 years from now, and, well, they'll be glowing, for one thing, because of Hanford, and they'll also be starving to death, and they'll be saying, I'm starving to death, because you allowed the dams to stand. God damn you. And but the dams are really important. They're necessary for the electricity to make it so Safeco Field you can move the top back and forth. They're necessary to smelt aluminum for beer cans. Anyway, so the longer we wait, I mean, if somebody would have brought down civilization 100 years ago, we wouldn't have to worry much about global warming. We wouldn't have to worry about the toxification of the total environment with pesticides. We wouldn't have to worry about dioxin in every mother's breast milk. I mean, if 50 and 75 years from now, are people going to be going, if somebody would have brought it down 75 years ago, we'd still have amphibians. If somebody would have brought it down 75 years ago, we would still have, if someone brought it down 15 years ago, they'll be saying 15 years from now, we'd still have sturgeon. It's like, how long? At what point? What's the threshold? 100 years from now, it's like we'd still have, name it. We'd still have oceans. Air to breathe. That's not one of my premises, but that's something that if I would have thought of it when I was writing the book would have been one of the premises, which is the primary, if not only measure, by which we'll be judged by those who come after is going to be the health of the land base. They're not going to give a shit as to whether we voted Democrat, Republican, Green, Anarchist, didn't vote at all. They're not going to give a shit as to whether we recycled. They're not going to give a shit as to whether we were violent or non-violent. They're not going to give a shit as to whether we're nice people or not nice people. They're not going to give a shit as to whether we wrote great books or made great films or did great talks or anything else. They're going to care about whether they can breathe the air and drink the water.
And this is where I actually disagree with him. Like, he's saying that after a civilization collapses, the generations after us won't care about a lot of our good advancements that we have had, and I do definitely disagree with that.
Yeah, because I appreciate the advancements, but the phone and technology these days, and all the kids are on it 24/7, not paying attention. It's retarded. Our generation, mine and his generation, is fucked. We didn't help any.
Yeah, I mean, what I mean is going on is that maybe the first couple generations, because the land they do live on is going to be fucked, will probably think that. But after that, they're going to probably, look into a lot of the old archives of our past civilizations, and then try to look at it and
define it and better it. And I hope they try to better it.
Yeah,
I think it worse.
I think a lot of and also I think there'll be a lot of places where people will continue to cherish the cultures of the past. I mean, we see that all the time still. I mean, and I think people will cherish a lot of the great things that came from current civilization. So I do definitely disagree with him on this. Not premise essentially.
We can all fantasize whatever we want about some groovy eco-socialist utopia with free love everywhere. It doesn't fucking matter if you can't breathe the air, you can't drink the water. And the only measure, it's embarrassing to say this, but the only measure by which any generation will be judged is the health of the land base that they pass on. That brings us to the 8th premise of the book.
8th.
The needs of the natural world are more important than the needs of the economic system. The needs of the natural world are more important than the needs of the economic system. Thanks.
I actually do kind of agree with that, though I think there needs to be more of a balance with it, which is why, again, I go back to my little spiel about democratic socialism. This is why I want a more centralized planned economy, because we need to plan for being caring and aware of our own environment and natural resources that we do have. And we need to make sure that we're able to return back to it. I mean, which is why I do love Oregon, because, I mean, one of the laws is that if you cut down a tree, you have to plant 2 in its place, basically.
No, you don't.
No, I thought that was a law. I remember hearing
I haven't heard about that.
Well,
if that's true, then I've done a lot of sins.
Well, I mean, no, that's for logging, for logging companies, not like individually. Like, if you can do a permit and, cut a tree down, like we've been trying to do that with some trees here, like those 3 ones in front.
What do you say?
But does Dakota have a picture of his child?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Fuck yeah, I do.
Yeah, but yeah. So I definitely, I do it's like I kind of agree, but it's more my view is more of a balance instead of just total awareness. Like we need. I mean, I do agree there needs to be total awareness, but there needs to be more of a balance between the economic system and the natural resource systems as well.
I have just guaranteed I will never hold public office. Another way to put the eighth premise is any economic or social system that doesn't benefit the natural communities on which it's based is unsustainable, immoral, and really stupid. Sustainability, morality, and intelligence, as well as justice, requires the dismantling of any such economic or social system, or at the very least disallowing it from damaging your land base. Okay, ninth premise. Oh, the ninth premise is pretty interesting. Actually, I'm getting kind of cold. It's pretty interesting. You know, I can bash almost anything I want, and people are cool with it. You know, I can bash capitalism, that's fine. I can bash environmentalism, that's fine. I can bash anarcho-primitivism, that's fine. I can bash myself, that's fine. I can bash blah, 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 it's fine. But there's a few things that you like, cannot bash. For example, if I bash, oh my God, when I bash science, I can just feel the sphincters in the audience start to quiver. Or also, if I bash Buddhism, oh my God, it's like you have not lived until you've been chased down the street by a bunch of pacifists.
Oh, you can't see it. You can't see my
Yeah, not really. I mean, here, hold on. I can get a little closer. Here.
Nope, you can't see it.
Oh, there you go. There's the kid.
No.
Well, we tried. We tried. Oh, yes. Oh, he said, oh, yes. Okay. So, I actually do kind of agree, because I remember TJ made this video ranting against Buddhism, and he got literal death threats by Buddhists.
There you go. Now you can see my daughter. That's my daughter. Yeah, that's my daughter. She's the center of the universe. And excuse me, bro. Go back to what you were saying.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro.
It's all good. It's all good. We gotta make sure he gets his quality content he's signed up for.
Right.
But yeah, so I do actually kind of agree because
what a beautiful child. Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, because with TJ Kirk on the Amazing Atheist channel, he made a video on Buddhists and got literal death threats by Buddhists constantly. Yeah. Who like to claim they're a bunch of pacifists and stuff, and it's like, no, you're not. You're like making death threats against Buddhists, against somebody because they criticize Buddhism. I mean, which is like ridiculous. Like, yeah, so far for peace, right? So in some instances, there is some agreement with that, though I don't think it could be made for everything.
I'm getting green.
Or another one that's really hard to talk about is population, and because if you mention that there are more humans on the planet than the planet can support, then people suddenly start to presume that you're actually anti-human. Which doesn't really follow in my mind. Oh, this is great too. I gotta tell you this. That they say there's no such thing as a stupid question. I got one the other day.
See how
so I'm gonna tell everybody in the country. There's this. I sometimes do interviews on a radio station.
40% of this guy's shit.
One county down in Humboldt County, one county south
where I live.
And there's this guy who.
At least you can agree to or relate or agree to it.
I mean,
in a little bit of ways.
I mean, I kind of agree more like 60 to 65% of his stuff.
I'm with you on that, bro.
Yeah, I mean...
A little bit. I'm like, yeah, 50. I'm 50.
Yeah, I mean, but...
I'm half.
He made, like, a lot of his premises are... you know, I can, you know, agree with. It's just that a lot of his reasoning behind it is a little like,
Stupid.
I mean, not stupid. I mean, it's just, you know, I just disagree with a lot of the, not all of it, but I mean, some of it. I mean, but you can make, but I you know, in a lot of ways, I'm kind of just trying to see how I can support it.
40. Sorry, bro.
Hey, but that's all good, though. I mean,
it's all good. That's your opinion, bro.
That's the whole point.
That's what I like. People put their opinion out there. Who gives a fuck what any else people think? Because the comedy nowadays is fucked.
Yeah.
Don't you agree, bro?
I do. I mean, we're in a bubble right now anyway. I mean, I'm expecting the next crash within next couple of years, honestly. Maybe worse than the Great Recession, maybe just that.
Get your hands on some guns. That's all I say.
Well, I mean, I'm planning on getting a firearm eventually, but
I'll get yourself some rifles.
I said a firearm. I mean,
a pistol's a firearm. A rifle's not a firearm.
That is a firearm.
You can't carry that.
A gun is a firearm.
Okay, no. A rifle.
A gun is.
You can't carry it around you in. Okay. In Washington. I mean,
if it's a gun, it's a firearm. A firearm is another word for a gun.
Yes, I know.
So,
but no, a firearm, you can't carry a rifle on your back and go down the street with it without getting in trouble. Sorry.
Well, in Malotna
gun violence.
Well, with Malotna County...
I mean no violence. I mean protecting yourself.
Yeah, like...
A, you get shot, or B, you shoot them. For real. If anything starts happening like that, I bet you I will have a gun to protect my daughter. I bet you... I will shoot a man in front of my daughter just to protect her life. On the real.
Damn.
I'm like, on the real. 100%. No fucks given.
Well, I mean, it's your own child. I mean, I don't have a kid and probably won't for like another decade maybe. I don't know. But I mean, yeah, like, I mean, what parent wouldn't do anything for the kid?
True, bro, true. Respect on that.
It's a torch.
Dude,
I got the torch in my dick. It's the red rocket. All those lights around it, and it couldn't. There we go. It's hardly bad, but anyway, yeah, but this is. This is almost over though, so we got about another.
Just push play.
Yeah, just another 10 more minutes.
Then I'm rapping for you,
what
bro.
I say so much.
You requested it, you come down, I do it.
I'm not sure. I think he attacks me, but I usually can't figure out what the hell he's saying. And one time I was saying that humans have exceeded carrying capacity.
Oh, shit.
And carrying capacity is the number of any given species who could live in a particular place forever without harming it. So you could have an island that has a carrying capacity of 1,000 deer. 1,000 deer could live there forever. But if you put 10,000 deer there, they're going to eat too much of the vegetation, cause erosion, and lower the carrying capacity, make it so the place can only support 500 deer. Anyway, so I was saying that humans have exceeded carrying capacity, and he called up just sputtering.
That is
said,
true.
how dare you say that humans have exceeded their capacity to care?
That's a little bit true because we have so many fucking people. There's billions of people on this earth.
I mean,
too many population.
Well, I kind of actually disagree a little bit because it's not that there's too many people, it's that the distribution of food and just, you know, wealth and everything.
No, we don't have enough food. We don't have enough meat to sustain us.
We do. It's just
no.
Hold on. Because look at the United States and how much food we waste. We have a lot of waste when we eat food.
No, I mean, shit. If we stop doing that, dude, they would be helping us a lot better.
Yeah, we would have. I mean, we
would have more food than everything.
And look at produce. I mean, look at all the undesirable produce that gets thrown out just because there's a little lump on it or something like that, or a slight genetic defect with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so if we just, you know.
And they treat they treat the cows and
yeah, I mean,
up.
Yeah, I mean,
fucked up.
yeah,
Ruthless. Oh shit.
Yeah, that's all good. Yeah, but I mean, I mean, if we had more, better use of harvesting. What the fuck was that? What the?
I would make you like me, motherfucker. Now,
oh, okay.
Finish your sentence.
Yeah, so I mean, if we had more harvesting that was distributed far more towards everyone in general, I mean, There's actually a company based in Seattle called Imperfect Produce or Imperfect Goods, and they literally ship. They will literally buy produce from farms in Seattle that is genetically defected and stuff, and then sell it and package it up and stuff. So, and they're now starting to branch out in Portland. I'm seeing a lot of their people on my campuses in college, which I think is awesome because. If we had more cooperatives, because they're a cooperative like that, then I think a lot of this food problem would be fixed better. Because that's the main problem. It's not that there's too many people. It's just that a lot of the
much food.
Yeah, we waste so much food, and we profitize water and everything to the point of. To the point that we have these famines and we have these droughts where we shouldn't be having them.
I'm on a tight schedule, bro.
All right, we're almost here though.
Question.
Sorry,
anyway, so
it's all good.
So
family.
The ninth premise.
I mean, when we get into it, I mean,
although there will clearly someday be far fewer humans than there are at present, there are many ways this reduction in population could occur. Some of those ways would be characterized by extreme violence and privation. Nuclear Armageddon, for example, would certainly reduce both population and consumption, yet would do so horrifically.
Right, bro?
What?
The same would be true for a continuation of overshoot followed by crash.
Bro.
Other ways would be characterized by less violence.
Do you, bro?
And I don't know what's going to happen, obviously, but this much I do know, that if we don't approach these problems actively, if we don't talk about our predicament and what we're going to do about it, the violence will be almost undoubtedly be more severe, the privation more extreme. And I want to be really clear. Every cell...
And this was in the early 2000s, and I actually agree with that because this has been proven fact. I mean, look at how many wars we've continued to get into. Look how much chaos there's been getting into. Look, I mean...
Everything, bro.
Yeah, I mean, that is actually... His ninth premise is actually very true.
Gangster.
I definitely 100% agree with that. So... I mean, with Gaza, with Palestine and Israel, with Syria, with Iran and North Korea, to Saudi Arabia and Yemen. I mean, and even Pakistan, India, and China, and all these places that are ramping up wars and ramping up for military and shit. I mean, this is definitely true when we're seeing conflicts rise up over.
And that's not good. And that's not good. We want peace. Oh, at least I want peace with everybody. Shit. There's too much drama.
Did that 40 become a 50? I mean, boom.
My body wants for us to have a voluntary transformation. Just like every cell in my body wants for...
Whatever, fuck you.
That must be the toe.
No, I don't mean to disrespect.
Just like every cell in my body wants for people to approach the whole question of there being too many humans. And I'm going to talk more about population in a second. But anyway, every cell in my body wants for us to approach that just reasonably and rationally and intelligently, but of course we all know what we're going to do is just continue on this freight train to hell until it continues to fly off the cliff. I mean, once again, every cell in my body wants... I was thinking, if I ran for president, I think I would go on a platform of vasectomies for everyone. Well, vasectomies for every man. Vasectomies on the house. And I was doing a talk a while ago, and somebody shouted out when I said that.
I really don't think he actually meant that.
Slogan. I was like, oh God, I don't know. So I opened up the audience, and they came up with a great one, which is a snip in every sack.
A snip in every sack.
Oh God.
That's
I'm ready to run.
Fucked up.
Oh man. Okay, my vas deferens are literally hurting right now.
I need to say, by the way, that I don't think the population is actually...
Like, specifically those
can support,
tubes are hurting me right now.
But I don't think the population is a primary problem. I think population is actually a tertiary problem. The reason I think population is secondary instead of primary is that I think consumption is way more important. Because...
We already even went into that, too.
I mean, actual numbers don't matter. There could be 100 gazillion people on the planet, and if they didn't eat, shit, or stand anywhere, it wouldn't matter. The important thing is how much damage you're causing or how much help you're doing. Imagine that also, that humans can actually benefit their land base. What a strange concept that is. Anyway, and that's really important because when I think about overpopulation, the first image that comes to mind is, honestly, is a little brown baby with a distended belly in a third world nation. First image that comes to mind.
First image comes to mind.
When I think of overconsumption, the first thing I think of is an American. And who causes more damage. So that's why I don't think the population is a primary problem, but a secondary problem. And the reason I don't think the population is a secondary problem, but it's actually a tertiary problem, is because, are there any demographers in here? Good, I hate demographers. And the reason I hate demographers is because sometimes they talk about something called the natural rate of population growth, which is that if you have X number of people, then the population exponentially rises, blah, blah, blah. And it presumes that people breed like rabbits. And the truth is, I don't even think rabbits breed like rabbits. It presumes that people don't make rational family planning decisions based upon their personal and social circumstances.
No, I never
Once again, Apollo lived there for 12,500 years in relatively steady state.
There's a lot of videos on YouTube.
And there's a lot of videos.
It's funny.
Part of the reason is because they had an intimate relationship with their land base, and they would perceive damage to the land base as damage. And if perhaps they start to have too many babies, well, let's cut back. And, I mean, you would think, let's just think about this. What happens if you have a culture where somebody writes a book, and in this book they tell people to go forth and multiply, and this book becomes a really big bestseller?
Talking about, which goes into his
that's going to affect family planning decisions. And also, I need to say this too, that there were, in native North America, there were about 250 different plants that were used as contraceptives and abortifactants by the women. And the decisions to use those were made by women. A bunch of fucking primitives. And yeah, imagine that. And I gotta tell you the story too, this is so cool, is back at one point, a bunch of male anthropologists went out, and anthropologists like exclusively male at one point, and a bunch of anthropologists went out and they were trying to find out what indigenous peoples would use for contraceptive. And they would go talk to the men, because of course the men are the only ones we're talking to, and they say, so how do you not make babies? And they're like, that is a really good question. And so a lot of the anthropologists were saying, indigenous people don't know where babies come from. And then when women started getting into anthropology, the women would go talk to the indigenous peoples, and they would talk to the women, and they would say, how do you not get pregnant? And the women would say, if you take this certain route when you're 16, then you're sterile for 5 years, and when then when you're 20, then you have to do this and this. And the men are like, really? I had no idea. I want to say one more thing about population, which is that the whole thing about making a wall down in Mexico, or down at the border of Mexico, and how when you stop all those Mexicans from coming up, and the Central Americans, and the El Guatemalans, and the Nicaraguans, or whatever their names are, I have to say that I am actually strongly in favor of closing the border to Mexico on one condition. Which is that if you close it to people, you close it to the movement of resources as well.
So this final point right there essentially sounded like kind of a more naturalistic view, I think.
You say it'd be good, but it'd be bringing down the resources.
Well, no, he's saying if we build the wall in Mexico and shut off immigration entirely, we should just shut off trade and everything entirely. Just
42%, what?
42%. So he had a slightly more agreement there. Yeah, but that was part one of with 9 out of 20 of his premises. In the next stream, whenever I do that, the next Ignarism that we get into, we'll finish up his premises, and then the next one after that, we'll I don't know who else I'll get into, but well, I guess we'll just have to find out. But yeah, so let's have our friend here sing us out.
Rap us out, you a dumbass.
Oh, whatever. Fuck off.
When do you want me to fuck
compared to immigrants to commodities?
Alright, but hold on. I'm gonna let you listen to this Christian rapper real quick. No cussing.
Can't stop, won't stop. ASAP. I give him that D-bop. Like, take that, take that, take that, take that. I'ma put in work. I'ma do that ASAP. Throw my favorite rap. But I say don't say that. But I'ma turn Jeff up. Feel like Shaq and Malcolm. Breaking glass in that back motor like Kobe and Toronto. Drop the 81. Yo, I dropped the 80.
Alright, fine.
It'll have to be like royalty free. I mean, it's just a copyright thing because YouTube's fucked.
Alright, here.
Yeah. If it wasn't for that reason, I would literally not give a... If it wasn't... I literally would not give a fuck. It's just the copyright thing.
Yeah, I don't get you in trouble.
Yeah. Because YouTube will probably just, like, shit toast me and be like, nope, wrong, wrong, you're not allowed, you're banned. You're not allowed to
actually, I'm actually trying to produce his shit because he's a Christian rapper and I respect him highly. He did not cuss once in the song. It's Andy Mineo. You Can't Stop Me. Alright, but hey, let's put on some instrumentals on your fucking laptop, whatever you want to.
Well, you can do it for there.
That's my speaker, nigga.
Exactly.
Oh, my speaker that good?
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice and pumping. Thick beats.
It's alright.
Royalty free would be probably the best way to do it, because then that's like okie dokie.
Put royalty in on that song. Oh, Andy Mineo. Oh wait, that's not the song. But that means I have to tell him to speak again.
Well, here's some. Whichever one you want. So,
still his shit.
Yeah, overall, what did you think there, Joe? I mean...
It's still his shit. Can't.
Alright, well. But anyway,
instrumental.
Overall, I mean, there's things I mean, the general premise I do agree with, but a lot of his context as to why it kind of depends on the kind of particular premises we're talking about. Oh, fuck you, advertisements. But, yeah. I mean, overall, it seems pretty interesting, though. Too much I don't agree with. I mean, that's fine, though. I mean, it shows the difference of ideas, and, I mean, I think that's pretty good. Too much gray area. Yeah, that's kind of my thing. I agree with. I mean, there is too much gray area with it. But I mean, a lot of the premises, I mean, I can't agree with. Plus, a lot of other ones I don't really agree or have an opinion on.
Hell yeah. Poverty, hold on, man. I'll be back in one motherfucking memory. But guess what? Hi. Understand this, you lying through your heart for me. See, you be breaking my heart, see, you be doing the dirty, but hold on, man, I'm not going to nasty because I really want to be lasting, but hold on, I'm just doing my things. Make it hard for me, get it hard for me. I try to put this on real quick. Alright, instrumentals.
I can make my own instrumental with that bass.
Explosive. Here you go. Hey, let's go old school. Alright. Excuse me, bro. You're my hot seat. Alright. Put your feelings with these words. It's gonna be kinda hard, okay? Tell you the truth. Spasmatic on the beat. Ha! See, I'm killer automatic, I'm flowmatic. But hold on, man, I've been like this fucking drug addict. Been around the fucking block, yeah, so what? Man, I got a gun pulled to my fucking head, a 9mm fucking straight to my dome. I thought I was gonna die, but I never kept myself alone. So I got this fucking feelings that I told him to go. I told him pull that trigger, cause I ain't afraid to go. Yeah, that's true shit. I told him, guess what? You can't tell my little sister, tell her to shut the fuck up. Cause that was fucked up, because I know how how to handle her. Her name was Beth and I always will respect her. But she punched me in my eye and man, I didn't even know what I did wrong. I was fighting with your man. Instead, I was probably fucking dead. When my hands were held and then you punched me in my eye, gave me that black eye. Yeah, nice and shiny, man. Why you running the beat, bro? You turn that shit off. It's on the low key, though. I'm not trying to fuck with you. I'm just trying to be real, so I ain't you. See how I go off my shit, cause I know I'm gonna put these feelings. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna say what you said. I'm gonna say what you said. See, look, you want me put your feelings with these words, but guess what? You never really heard of spasmatic. Cause guess what? Even though I was cracked at it, I came back at it every 2 steps that I came with it. That's why I take my own fucking memories that I've done, and they're never gonna fucking always hate me. Just trying to think, but I really can't speak. Cause I know I've been feeling always alone, and then I found my fucking homie named fucking Suzuki from Harley. And that's my old homie named fucking Harley. He fucked me over, fucked my old ex-girlfriend, more like my fiance, but it's okay cause I did my fucking things that we had to fucking do. So have at it, bro. She's ain't even texting you. She ain't calling you cause she doesn't feel. She probably still has feelings for my ass, and I ain't gonna last. And it's still fucking going, free fucking styling, cause I know I got this flow, but you really don't know fucking know, cause you the hoe. Just fucking listen to these beats before you can lay it down before you can go to sleep. Man, I wish I had a boss that takes you in every time I woke fucking up. I have these fucking night terrors, feel like I got a gun in my head, but I never pulled the trigger cause I ain't gonna be dead.
Damn.
Alright, tell me how that was. I wanna see what you say.
I'm feeling the words.
That's what you said last time.
Expression, man. Gotta have that expression.
That was good. If you're having that expression, man.
Having that expression. Don't want to fall through that deep depression. Damn. Gonna have some depressions. I don't fucking know.
Alright, see,
I'm not good at it. Told you, damn it.
Instrumentals.
Your life with notes.
Right? Putting the fucking real up in this shit, keep it 100, cause that's how I keep it real. Every day I'll be not fucking balling, trying to find myself a nice go, cause I ain't crying. What? Not for you.
Not for you, Ignore. Your life with notes.
Hey. There you go. Yeah, see how I feel every freaking day, man. I'm trying to get laid, but I hope I never get paid, cause I know wanna fucking do this fucking shit. Always gonna keep it live, motherfucking shit. Yes, what? Hey. He's like, hey. Hey, what, bro? I don't know what you gonna do, Joe, bro. But hold on down the fucking little road that I really don't know, yeah. Respect, hold on, no disrespect, cause I ain't gonna hate in this deep down depression that I've never fucking felt. So what if I keep it real? Yeah, I get litty every time I speak, cause I know I'm gonna always be the free man. Free, bro, rest in peace, cause I'm dead, man. But I'm gonna fucking come back alive, cause I know you goddamn gonna fucking cry. That's why I'll always get it leady, no fucking in the ceiling. Now you gonna be fucking on the motherfucking flow. So if you can, suck that dick fucking really low. Yeah. That's why I always keep myself fucking elastic-tastic. Yeah, that's why I say spasmatic, cause I always got my gun in it, keep it automatic, keep it 100. But I really just wanna flow, but hold on, you cannot get it alone, cause I'm always on this fucking little beat. It's really easy to just get on the sleep. But hold on, I'm gonna slit someone's neck, cause it ain't gonna kill me in the fucking den. Hey, read this shit. Hey, pretty good. Joe gonna fly through your life though. Sounds good though. Didn't see me pass go. If you can make it though. Oh. Yeah. Joe's gonna fly through your life, through your sound on the memory fucking bow, cause you need to cut it fucking out. That's why I think he's trying to be loud. old fucking Dr. Dre, but hold on, hey, look. See, Dr. Dre always gonna get loud, so guess what? He gets laid. So what if he gets paid? I could be on his shit if I wanted to. I just need to hit him up and call him up too. Shout out to Dr. fucking Dre, he the fucking savior, just like Eminem and Little Shady does. So what, doing the twist 180? But hold on, man, I'm not gonna be like Captain fucking Bill, cause you really can't be on that Captain fucking Morgan, double shotting. That's how I get myself fucking litty, if I really wanna be fucking feeling shitty. But I'm really not, I'm always gonna be motherfucking hyped to go to what I need to do. So what, man, if you gonna fucking lose, I'm gonna make you cry, cause you a bitch ass Bobby. So what, man, it's like Harley dissing on my homeboy, cause I have to, cause he's always that clown, that fucker always gonna put a damn fucking frown on my face. But guess what, I'm always gonna relate. And guess what, he can fuck my ex-bitch, and it gets it, cause she's always gonna lay in that ditch to my hope, cause she never settled the page that we made a fucking daughter. I bet you don't feel even at the sound of the fucking recorder. But hold on, let me grab my quota, because really, I'm just smoking on the floater. But hold, no, floater, older, so what, my name is Dakota. Fuck yo bitches, cause I'm being smoking on that weed every fucking time that I wanna be me, cause I know it's me.
Damn.
Yeah, right? Question, did you do crack? Yeah, guess what? Hold up. I'm 6 months clean, bro. I'm living my dream, trying to get off that motherfucking shit, cause it wasn't legit and I hated that shit. Man, it put me in the down dog place, and now I don't do it now. Yeah, you right, and he knows fucking it. I have to do a pee test 2 fucking day, yeah. So what, if that's motherfucking insane, I will smoke fucking weed till the day till I death of me. So what, man, I be fucking chilling. Yeah, that's good. I'm doing it for my daughter. See, I'm her father. Her name's fucking Lila Bell. So if you can't handle her smell, cause guess what? Always gonna smoke that weed. 420 every day. That's fucking me. If you don't like it, get the fuck out of my way, cause it's gonna get you guns and I'm gonna get you my way. Highway.
Hey. Nice.
Right.
Oh my god. Alright. That was lit. A little bit nice chill back.
Hell yeah. Ha. 1, 2, 3 to the 4. So doggy's gonna come up in the road. But hold on, man, I'm not gonna come off this motherfucking shit, cause I know I'm legit. Remix the shit, cause I know I'm all about me. Yeah, see, that's what I'm always gonna be about. 420, let me take a hit from that bomb, man, it's like Chi-Chi-Chom. But you know you gonna cough off this motherfucking shit, cause I know I'm gonna get myself fucking loose. So what, man, you too loose. Don't want your ass and you can sip on some juice. Yeah, so, hey, see, let me tell you something about my fucking girl. I never told her she's my fucking world, my center of my universe. Yeah, that's my daughter. Yeah, man, keep it 100. Yeah, I'm always gonna tell you that I'm gonna kill someone that ever steps up to my little fucking boo. Cause guess what? I grab my gun and stay true, cause I know that I have to pull up in it. Oh, look, I changed it. Woo! Liddy.
This is gorilla.
Yeah.
Oh. Alright. Well, I do hope you enjoyed the stream, my friend.
Indeed.
Alright. And I'll be seeing you in the next one. And then I'll go back into the Ignarism here pretty soon too, hopefully.
Party it out. Do the goodbye.
Yeah, here you go. Hold up.
Hey, yeah. See, I'm saying motherfucking deuces. So what if you too loosen? Cause I know, see? Thank you. Hey, I appreciate you too, bro. So what if I'm gonna tell you deuces, bro? And I always respect you.
Boom.